is Natalie Gray. I am a child of the Pacific Northwest. I grew up on Alki in the early mid-90s and have lived, worked, and gone to school in a dozen different Seattle neighborhoods. So it's a very thoroughly Seattleite. Worked with the mayor's office for a little bit. In my life, I balance both music and environmental sustainability work. And Folklife is a very core part of my upbringing, partly because of its ethos of abundance and reveling in what we have to offer each other as people. But as I mentioned to you briefly before, I grew up in a mixed faith household, and we learned about the oral traditions and things that have brought the people that have produced me through into the present, but getting to juxtapose that or expand upon that in festivals at the Seattle Center like Folklife that allowed me and other people to see the common denominators in denominations and how it serves partly religion and culture and all of the above serves to fortify us in community and to show us or provide an example of how to be good people and to make contributions and to support each other. So I have been coming to Folklife since I was a toddler, if not before, and continue to come every year. And as I mentioned before, I play violin. I got to play Folklife a year or two ago, which is a blast.
Your first time?
For my first time, yeah. Beyond busking, which I think I had done in the years prior to, but it's really it's the heart of Seattle for me in a lot of ways. So I'm happy to share that. One that comes to mind was there was an Ethiopian coffee ritual happening in the Seattle Center, and that was something that through other classmates and friends I got to participate in before. So they did the ritual to an audience, and then they invited people to come down and dance, which uses a lot of shoulder movement. And it was really beautiful and fun. And at first, the audience was shy, but I had been introduced to dance before, so I was brave and I went down, and there, just the sense of excitement that I knew, and just the welcome, and the fact that it broke the ice to bring more people down and to experiment and to immerse themselves in it. It's really special, so I do that too. Musically, I started out playing my great-grandfather's violin in 4th grade in Seattle Public.
Great-grandfather's violin, that's just like a statement right there. Your family kept it through.
Yeah, it was an old Sears Roebuck catalog violin, and it had been, I think each of my mom's siblings had tried it out as a kid. She kept it, and when I came home and said I wanted to play either violin or clarinet, she said, well, we have a violin downstairs. We'll need to get it fixed up, but if you promise to play for at least 2 years, we can do that for you. And I've been playing for over a couple decades now.
Wow. What style?
Styles? Yeah, so that's evolved. And again, it's been, I learned or got my chops in public school music programs, which are mostly classical, same with community orchestras around the area too. I went on to coach other musicians as a young adult and play in the University of Washington Symphony and chamber groups. And the chamber groups would get hired out to play behind different singer-songwriters at festivals or acoustic festivals in particular. And from there, I was invited to play more and have been playing for over the past decade in alternative rock groups and in groups that represent more of the world music scene. And so for me, getting a chance to apply all this Silk Road Ensemble, if
Yeah.
you're familiar.
Yes.
I just learned, so a lot of my inspiration for how I play, especially as an adult, came from ensembles like Silk Road Ensemble, or groups like Folklife, and I just learned recently through my name that I had to go and participate in the Silk Road Ensemble
What?
event. I'm going to play music in China with the Silk Road Ensemble at the end of August.
What?
So, yeah,
Who
so
knew?
so this is really a special convening of time. So yeah, I'm happy. It's been about half and half when I've introduced people whether or not they know the Silk Road Ensemble. But and again, it's a similar ethos to Folklife in that we can bring all these disparate styles and players and people who represent different ways of being and still get to create beautiful things together and participate in being global citizens together and to do a lot of peace building together. And I think that both organizations are in line with who I hope to become as an adult. So yeah, because going into or choosing where I would go to in college, I grew up in an arts and sciences household. My mom is a fiber artist, and my dad's a molecular biologist, and they met at Carnegie Mellon in the 80s. Anyway, I knew that I wanted to keep both of those themes in my life, and so going into college, I was debating, should I go the more arts route or the sciences route? And both are valid. I think one of the driving forces for me was a Washington State Opportunity Scholarship to attend UW. They said that they'd cover a good chunk of my education if I came out with a Bachelor of Science. So me growing up in these arts spaces and being passionate about science said, okay, well, here, this and for other logistical reasons, this may be my best option. How do I want to leverage my time at a school to be, again, most used to this, participating in the world that we live in. So, and again, influenced by, perhaps like parts of Folklife, but growing up in Seattle in general, there was a lot of dialogue about people's relationship with the environment and what kinds of challenges we'd be up against in our lifetimes, and that I've heard a lot of dialogue too about how it would be on our generation to be the biggest lever arms for change that we could be. And so I took that prompt from the many influences in my life, lots of, again, in the public school system or in programs like Islandwood or regional outdoor programs. And we started to ask a lot of why questions, a lot of really good questions of those spaces, and the spaces being in the academic sense, but that then opened up other ways to participate and contribute in, say, like participatory budgeting, making sure that the public funds get chosen by the public where it should be spent, or being a UN youth advocate. I got to do that for a couple of years also. But again, to your point, yes, you hit it on the head, that it's all about situating ourselves in the global picture and in our limited time on Earth, what do we want to do? What kinds of contributions we want to make? What ways do we want to connect with other people and spend it joyously as we can? And that's our job. I think something to the character of folk is that it's a come as you are type term. It's about the everyday person.
Yeah.
And when I talked earlier about like reveling in what we have to offer, it doesn't have to be grand gesture. It's really about the everyday creativity and the showing up and the joy and the cleverness of making things together. And that's briefly, that's what I'd say focus to me. So,
Yeah, the everyday, and it really links together kind of the macro and the micro if you think about it, because it's like, how can you show up and make the most of it? And that's those small decisions are huge. Imagine if everybody did that.
Right, because all you ever have is your immediate right now to decide. You can obviously be influenced by decisions you've made or experiences you've had or the way you want things to be, but your realm of influence is in the right now.
Yeah.
And so I can think as big as I want, I can think as far in the past or in the future, and it's all like valuable tools toward what you do right now, but it's only ever right now. So I like how you drew upon that. Now I have this in my mind recently because it happens to also be one of the board books that my family got my son, who's now 1.5, and he's here tonight. We're getting him in on the trim. This is his second year, the 2 years that he could come to the festival. He's at the festival, but it's What a Wonderful World by Lucas Armstrong. So do that.
There we go. I love it. Is there anything else you want to add to this interview, considering it's an oral history? Anything about yourself that you might want to share for future generations who might be listening?
Let's see. Well, if the internet is still standing as it is, you want to come find me later. You can find me at Natalie Johanna Gray. It's NATALIEJOHANNAGRAY on all platforms. And we're happy to